actually like one of the most complex videos that I've ever made to date, but it is the main teaching. It is what I practice every day. It is what I am in alignment with, and this is like the joy that I want to share with other people. Okay, hi everybody. Welcome back. It's your girl, and today we're going to be talking about the number one thing you need to know in order to master all your manifestations. Everything that you've learned up to this point doesn't matter at all if you don't know what I'm going to tell you right now. This precedes every single thing you think that could possibly make a difference in your life and your manifestation. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. I created this diagram, and I'm going to flip the camera so that I can talk about it. So this is the setup. I'm leaning all the way back, but I just want to show my vanity. I manifested this, and I was like so happy when I finally did. These are fake flowers. This is my setup that I'm currently recording on. It's just a candle in a cardboard box, and here we have the diagram that I want to go over. So I know these guys look like little Martians, but this is you. This is who you think you are. I'll even add some hair so you guys can see. Right now, I think this is me, right? Even though I look like a Martian, I have 2 eyes to see with, I have 2 nostrils to smell with, a mouth to taste with, to speak with, fingers to touch things with, feet and legs to move around with. And if you come from the metaphysical side of the spiritual community, there's also all the chakras that we have. And as we live our lives from birth to death, most of us on this planet believe that we are just this body. In other cultures and in other civilizations, maybe even some that don't exist anymore, they believe that they were more than the bodies. To what extent varies. For example, in Buddhism, you cannot talk about the soul, you cannot talk about consciousness or reincarnation. But in Hinduism, that is actually one of the basics of the religion. So right now in modern day society, and specifically in America, we're kind of taught that this is all we are. So, you know, get your Starbucks drink and buy the latest iPhone. That's supposed to be an iPhone. And just plug in your music, and this is all you need to be happy, right? However, what we don't realize is that this is not who we are. While you're manifesting, when you usually start out, you think that this person has hopes and dreams, right? So for example, I'm thinking about love. We'll put a little Cupid's arrow right there. I'm thinking that this is something that I want. I feel lack in my heart. Maybe I have like a broken heart or something right here. And the human wants to work towards this. So if you follow Abraham Hicks or really any other manifesting teacher, we know that all manifestations start with this desire first, right? So I'll put a 1 right here. This is our utmost priority. This is what we want to bring into our life. All this other stuff is stuff that we experience, but we don't really care for it. You know what I mean? What we really are is the soul. And what the soul is something invisible. It's eternal. It's infinite. So we'll just add this infinity symbol. You can't see it. You can't touch it. You can't taste it, but you know that it's there. For example, when you look at a really beautiful sunset, or you're like watching a baby being born, or you just see something really magnificent and you're kind of like taken back. The gap between your thoughts, so like what this person is thinking, it kind of like makes way for the presence that you are, which is the soul. The way that I like to think about it is that the soul is like a really big eyeball, or some kind of like physical eyeball, right? So do you see how like these are the lashes, and this is the pupil, and it's constantly looking out? That's what I envision the soul is. The soul is just presence. Oops. there's other words for it too, like the watcher consciousness. Let's see if I can spell consciousness. There we go. But you know, the most common word for it is just soul. So when we're manifesting, we need to remember that this is who we are. This is the real you. Not this. The little you. The reason why this is so important is because we are not the thoughts. We are not the items that we have. We're also not the senses. And we're also not the feelings. So let's say I got really heartbroken that day, right? So I have a bunch of like not so good feelings in here. I'm not this either. So again, to repeat that, like I'm not the thoughts. I'm not the items in my life. I'm also not the feelings right here. I'm also not even the chakras, and I'm not even this person altogether. But maybe I shouldn't have stricken that out too soon, because it's what is needed to experience everything on planet Earth. Pretend this is like a planet. This is the planet Earth. So we are reincarnated or incarnated into this body so that we can experience life on this planet. Without a human body, we cannot experience Earth. And Earth is full of so many amazing things. Like, you know, we have like our Stanley cups, we have sunglasses, we have oracle cards, we have like a human flesh body, we have a sense of humor, we have things that we can make, we have things that we can wear, we can express ourselves with our hair, our makeup, our clothes, even like decorating our room the way we want, and having cute little things like this, and having like things that we can buy and ship. So it's important to have a human body to be able to experience everything on this planet. This would never have come into existence if it wasn't for the soul. So now let's talk about the soul. The soul is something that has existed before the universe. So let me just flip a page and write some things down to think about. What came before the universe? What's outside the universe? Think about that. Except you can't think, because the mind can't even fathom what is before the universe or outside the universe. But it doesn't make sense, because I mean, what I mean to say is there has to be something that came before the universe or is outside the universe, right? Our brains just can't comprehend it. So in the same way, this mind is not able to comprehend any of this. But we know this because we feel it, like in the examples that I mentioned before. Now, what is the soul's role in all this? Why is all this important for manifesting? So now let's talk about manifesting. Right now, we manifest from lack. So let's say that we're heartbroken and eventually want to do something to feel fulfilled, to have it all. This right here is the human condition. This is what we all go through as a human. Whoops, that is a weird M. This is what humans go through. But what is the soul? What is the soul? The soul is only love. The soul is all things. The soul is constantly expanding. The soul is everything. This is what people perceive as God. And I'm sorry if you're religious and that rubbed your edges the wrong way, but what I'm talking about is the truest nature of our being. This is what this is. We are always this. Each of us has a soul. Each of us has a unique signature, energetic chunk of what God is. And that chunk of God is what this is. So when they say that we are made in the image and likeness of God, it's not that God has 2 arms and 2 legs unless we imagine them to be so. It's that we have the ability to experience and create all things the way that God does. So the soul doesn't go through any of this. The soul always just is this. And because we're not able to answer these questions through the mind, we know that the soul has nothing to do with the mind. So we have a brain here to think and process all these things on earth, right? The soul is just everything. The soul knows everything. The soul is everything. The soul has always been everything. And I forgot to mention, but these little Martians on the side, those are your previous reincarnations. So you were probably born here in 300 BC and you were a man. So we're going to give you a short haircut. And this is you in the year 4024. And let's say you have an afro in that lifetime, right? The coolest thing about all this is that the soul experiences all of these all at once at the same time. And that is how karma and, what's the word? It's not quantum jumping, past life regression. So this, we'll talk about past life regression in another video altogether, but it's all very connected, but totally unrelated to manifesting. You don't have to do anything like healing or chakra healing or past life regressions to get forward in your manifestations if you know this. So what does this mean for us, right? Let's just focus on this. Right now, every time we're manifesting as a human, we think there's something wrong with us. There's something missing from our lives. There's something that we don't have, like our lover won't talk to us, or I don't have my dream body, or my parents didn't love me as a kid and that means I'm unlovable, or I don't have the job that I want, or money is hard to make, or I wish that I had a family that loves me and takes care of me, or I just wish I had a specific breed of dog and I just saw 11:11 while recording this. You know, the list goes on and on and on and on. While we're on earth, we're always experiencing things or the lack of things, and we're always wishing to have things, we have things, or we lost things, and it's always about material things. It's always about the 3D, right? There is no 3D where the soul is. The soul supersedes everything. When we're the soul, we're all things, all at once, all at the same time. We are, more specifically, the consciousness that's able to observe all these things all at once, all at the same time. So the soul knows no lack. The soul just is everything all at the same time. It's important to remember this because when we are manifesting, let's flip a page and start taking some notes. What do we know, right? We know that we are the watcher. We know that I'm the presence. Watching everything. We know that I lack nothing. We know that I am not the thoughts or feelings or experiences or the past or the future. So when you know these 3 things, and these are just some of the things I could use to describe the soul, manifesting becomes a lot easier because now we are a whole being. We're simply right here. And to make this more clear, let's come down here. Right now, life is experienced like this, right? There is past, present, future, right? It's a timeline. What you are is actually just this, a singular point. If you remember in geometry, a point has no dimensions. It's just a simple speck, like it's just a dot to mark that it is there. This is the you. You think that you are this human experiencing past, present, future, but no, this is you. Think about that for a second. When I saw this, when I wrote this down for the first time and I saw that, I totally shifted in one day. like everything was a reality. I just felt completely at peace. I kind of saw my life pass before me like it was a movie, and that's kind of what this is. You are looking out through the eyes of your human avatar, and essentially like what all of this is like a movie, right? Since you're the soul, you can't see yourself, you can't experience yourself. But when you remember that you are the soul, all of a sudden, like all these things in front of me, right? Like when I'm looking in the mirror and I'm thinking thoughts like, oh my God, I'm so stressed about this, or I'm so upset that this didn't happen, or I'm really disappointed in myself. We keep thinking about things that aren't even real, if that makes sense. Nothing in the 3D is real. Remember, the only thing that is real is the fact that like you are this presence, because everything, every single thing is happening surrounding that presence. The presence is here. It is using my eyes to see. It is like tasting through my tongue. It is touching through my hands, but it's only here to experience. The soul's job is to only experience, because like I said here, I'm sorry, there's like a bowl of oranges here now. The soul, all it wants to do is experience things. That's the reason why you were born and put here on this planet, because this thing wants to experience what the earth is like through you, through your personality, through your wants, through your desires, through all the things that you have and don't have yet. That is the process of manifestation. We go through this process to remember this, that you always had it all. You never had to believe in lack. In fact, all of the resistance, the wavering things that people use comes from our ideas of lack. We are always having it all. So what this means is the moment that you're thinking to yourself, I want love. You're telling yourself that this is something that makes me happy. I feel good thinking about it. You know, we'll draw some flowers around here. That's a weird flower. It makes us feel happy thinking about these things, right? So as a human, we eventually, with time, because, you know, on this human plane, there is time. Remember, there's no time for soul. We experience love and we are happy, and that's why we were born here. Soul doesn't have time where it exists. Remember I told you that? As a human, we go from wanting something to having it. Where you go wrong is thinking, is when you're thinking, I have no one to love me, my lover doesn't love me, what am I gonna do without love? And you stay here because you are feeling lack. That was a bad one. When you're feeling love, you will manifest love. If you feel lack, you're only going to manifest lack. The soul is an attractive energy. It brings things into it. So if you're feeling heartbreak, you're only going to attract heartbreak. Does that make sense? Whereas if you're feeling love, you're constantly going to be attracting love. Our human nature, like our biology and all the metaphysical stuff, you're constantly attracting what we feel. And this is true for anybody in your life. Like, think about like your parents or your grandpas and your grandmas, and think about the personalities in your life that are very opinionated. Think about the people that have very happy opinions, and then think about the people that have really trash, sad opinions. Who is living the better life right now? It's always people that are happy, carefree, go with the flow, positive, good virtues. They believe in the best out of life. They believe in the best out of people. Those are the people that are living a good life. My phone died, but we're just going to pick up where we left off. So we know that our thoughts create our reality. We know this because we observe other people that are in our lives that are either very positive, think good thoughts about people around them, believe in the best for themselves and their lives, and attach good meanings to things. And we see how their life is, which is more than often not happy, joyous, carefree, wonderful. They're living wealthy, even if they're not like materially wealthy, they're wealthy internally. Whereas people that are very, very negative about themselves and the people around them, they constantly just manifest the same situation over and over again, causing them to affirm their own negative biases and continue living the life that they are so strongly opinionated about, right? So this just goes to show that the same way that we have physical biology, so like I have a brain that thinks, eyes that see, a heart that beats blood, like pumps blood in my body, I also have metaphysical components. So we have telepathy. I used to be a psychic for a few years, and we have people that are able to communicate through dreams, astral projecting. We have people that feel an energetic release right before they manifest something. So, and we also have deja vu and things like that. So we have experiences that we know are attributed to the spiritual nature of life, but we just don't know how it works because we haven't been able to scientifically examine that like in a laboratory, right? But we know that it's true through our own experiences. So to wrap all of this up, the soul is up there, out there, however you want to like perceive it. And the soul is here looking out through the experience that we have. Like I said, it's looking out through my eyes. It's touching the world through the fingers and the hands that I have. And it is here because it wants to experience life. It is here because it wants to experience life as you. You want to experience life as the vessel that you're in. Maybe you are a basketball athlete. Maybe you are a prom queen. Maybe you're a race car driver. Maybe you're a doctor. Maybe you're an orphan. Maybe that you're living in squalor. Like, the soul just wants to have experiences, and the soul doesn't have an idea of what's good or what's bad. I could lose my arm, and the soul that I am wouldn't care. The soul just wants experiences. It wants to observe things. So now we also have the human side, right? Because you can't tell me that I'm not a real human. Like, I'm flesh and bones. I feel things. If I stub my toe against the coffee table, I will be in pain. If I get my heart broken, I will cry. If someone does something to piss me off, I'll get mad. Like, my emotions are real. But the way this all ties into manifesting is that we know that we experience things through our senses and our emotions and our thoughts, but we are not the thoughts, the sensations, or the emotions. So we allow things to come into our life, we experience them, but we, over time, in order to manifest better, we don't engage the thoughts that are negative. Feel your emotions, let them go, but don't add negative thinking to your life if there's no reason to. Don't pay attention to thoughts that pop up in your brain. Like you could just be driving to work and all of a sudden you'll start thinking about how much you hate your coworker, or how upset you are at yourself for something embarrassing that you did like 10 years ago. Like, that's not even you. I'm gonna make another video on how you are the soul and not the mind, because it's very, very easy to think that you are the mind. It's very easy to think that you are the identity. For example, like, I am a Democrat, I am Gen Z, I love ponies, my favorite color is maroon, I adore Christina Aguilera, I think that lying is bad, and I think that the death penalty should exist. Like, all of these things, including stuff like when I was in the 3rd grade, like my crush didn't like me back, or my bosses have always been really mean to me, or I have really bad luck with money, or I'm just not a very lucky person. Like, all these things, whether they're good thoughts or bad thoughts, they're not you. So since you know that you're the soul, you can just choose to ignore thoughts. Isn't that awesome? You're infinite. You are a powerful, infinite being that's watching everything from start to finish. And you as a human have the power to choose what thoughts you want to engage with and how much of your past you want to believe is true. Nothing is true. And that's kind of where a lot of resistance fades away, because you suddenly realize you're not the old story anymore. You don't have to believe anything anyone has ever told you anymore. You don't have to believe anything you've ever told to yourself about yourself in the past. You don't have to think that anything that you're thinking right now is true. So for example, you could be listening to all this and thinking like, wow, she's off her rocker. But who's thinking that? It's not the soul. The soul's just experiencing it. So you choose what thoughts you want to actually believe and listen to, because the thoughts that you choose to kind of like invest in energetically, that's kind of like where your life and manifestations go. You know what I mean? So I can make more videos explaining this. This is actually like one of the most complex videos that I've ever made to date, but it is the main teaching. It is what I practice every day. It is what I am in alignment with, and this is like the joy that I want to share with other people. This is where conscious manifestation really starts, and I really hope to meet to educate more people and bring more people to awareness about this topic so that they can start having experiences of their own. Because it's not enough to just know that you are the soul through a video. You actually have to like experience it, because only through experience have I come to learn all these things, and I would not be teaching anything that I personally don't believe is true, or I personally have not experienced myself, and that personally have not helped me better my life, and it has bettered my life in unimaginable ways. So I can talk about that in future videos. But for now, be sure to like and subscribe if you like this type of content, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.